Ow, my pelvis. Ow. Newton's first law says an object in motion will stay in motion unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. Let me show you. Got my boy right here. And see how he went flying forward when the car was stopped? That's because he wanted to continue his motion. His motion was stopped once he hit this. The pelvis is made up of 5 bones. It protects the person's internal organs. If the pelvis is damaged, your organs might be damaged too. Even though seatbelts are supposed to protect the passenger, they can also cause the damage to the pelvis. Seatbelts are designed to restrain your pelvis. But even though this happens, every reaction results in an equal and opposite reaction, which leads to this outcome. The force that is exerted on the belt during the crash gets exerted back on you by the belt. Since the belt is strapped, an enormous amount of pressure is put on the pelvic. This pressure is so great that it can actually crush, fracture, and break the bone. When sitting in a car, your pelvis is positioned immediately above the vehicle's axis. So when the cars collide, the force of the impact generally displaces throughout this axis line. This means that the majority of the force will hit at the exact level of your pelvis, causing massive amounts of vibration, crushing pressure, and impact damage to shoot through your pelvis. When you're sitting in the front of a vehicle, your pelvis is surrounded by hazardous materials. The airbags, the steering wheel, and the engine can be forced right into your pelvis. Once they collide with your pelvis, they can completely destroy it and twist it. When you get into a car crash from the side, objects like the door and the airbag can crush your pelvis. Since Newton's law states that an object is going to stay in motion unless unacted by a force, my body is still moving even after the crash until it collides with either the airbag or the steering wheel or anything else. That is why this can be so harmful to your pelvis once it hits. Pelvis injuries may include anterior-posterior compression fractures, or lateral compression injury, or vertical shear injury, or complex pattern injury. The types of injuries that you can acquire in the anterior-posterior compression fractures are widening of the pelvic ring, as you can see in the picture provided above, or widening in the sacroiliac joints at the back of the pelvis can also occur, causing internal bleeding. For lateral compression injury, an impact to the side can create these fractures. As you can see in the picture, this type of pelvic injury may cause displaced fractures in the pubic bone, and there are risks of broken bones, causing damage to the underlying organs such as the bladder. For a vertical shear injury, the high shearing force that causes this injury causes major disruption to the pelvic ring, the SI joints, ligaments, and blood vessels. This may lead to major pelvic injuries, instability, and severe internal bleeding. A complex pattern injury is when there are 2 or more pelvic fracture types as I described earlier. These injuries are classified as complex pattern injuries. This video is over, but don't forget, don't get in a car accident, and let's go physics.